It was a crisp autumn evening in New York City, and the financial world was buzzing with an unusual kind of energy. Hidden away in the penthouse of an elite skyscraper, a select group of the world's most influential finance and business personalities gathered for what was known as the conclave. This wasn't an ordinary networking event. No cameras, no recordings, just an elite group of self-made millionaires and billionaires, all influencers in their own right, coming together to exchange their real secrets to wealth creation. Among them sat some of the biggest names in the industry: Richie Foxwell, a former hedge fund manager turned YouTube financial guru with over 10 million subscribers; Amanda Sinclair, a Wall Street insider turned TikTok finance queen, known for breaking down investing strategies in 30-second viral videos; Marcus Grant, a no-nonsense entrepreneur who built a billion-dollar real estate empire and shared his wisdom through a wildly popular weekly podcast; Noah Lee, a former stockbroker turned social media coach who had cracked the code of money psychology; and finally, the mysterious Cobalt, an anonymous influencer who ran a Twitter account with millions of followers, exposing financial corruption and hidden investment gems. The gathering wasn't just about rubbing elbows. It was about unlocking the kind of information the mainstream public never got to hear. Richie took the floor first. He was the loudest in the room, known for his high-energy delivery and market predictions that sometimes shook the entire financial world. "All right, let's be honest," Richie started, leaning forward. "The biggest lie in finance is that the game is fair. It isn't. The market is designed to reward those who know how to play the system." Amanda raised an eyebrow. "And what's your edge, Richie?" she asked with a smirk. Richie grinned. "Information asymmetry," he said. "The average investor reacts to news after it happens. But the wealthy, we move before it hits the headlines." He pulled out his phone and scrolled through a private chat filled with insider reports, early earnings leaks, and market-moving news. "I pay thousands for these sources. And guess what? That's why I win," he said. "If you're waiting to see CNBC report it, you're already too late." Amanda nodded but wasn't impressed. "I don't need leaks," she countered. "I leverage human psychology. Most retail investors panic at the wrong time and buy when it's too late. If you can anticipate fear and greed, you don't need a single insider tip." Marcus, the real estate mogul, chuckled. "Stock markets are temporary games. Real estate, that's permanent wealth." Noah leaned forward. "But Marcus, not everyone can afford to buy property in Manhattan." Marcus smirked. "Who said anything about Manhattan? The real secret is buying where the money is moving next. I have algorithms tracking government infrastructure projects, corporate expansions, and migration trends. By the time the public realizes a city is the next hotspot, I already own half the real estate." The group murmured in appreciation. This wasn't stuff they shared on YouTube or Instagram. Cobalt finally spoke, his voice low and deliberate. "You're all playing the game well," he said. "But let me tell you the biggest secret of them all." Everyone leaned in closer. Cobalt's eyes gleamed as he whispered, "The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed, to keep the masses chasing, while the insiders position themselves before the rules change." Silence filled the room. The truth was out. But what did it really mean for those listening? A tense silence hung over the room as Cobalt's words settled in. "Explain," Marcus finally said, crossing his arms. Cobalt leaned back, his expression unreadable. "Everyone in this room has figured it out," he said. "You all know the truth. The financial system isn't designed to make everyone rich. It's built to keep people in a cycle of dependence." Amanda scoffed. "That's a bit dramatic, don't you think?" Cobalt smirked. "You think so? Tell me, Amanda, how do most people learn about money?" She thought for a moment. "School, parents, maybe some self-education." "Exactly," Cobalt nodded. "And what do schools teach about money?" Richie laughed. "Nothing useful." Cobalt nodded again. "Because the people who control the system don't want the average person to understand how money really works. If they did, there'd be no workforce willing to grind for decades just to retire at 65. Marcus raised a glass. "That's why we're here, isn't it?" We figured it out. We play by a different set of rules. Richie leaned in. So let's talk about those rules. What's the biggest one? Cobalt didn't hesitate. Rule 1, wealth is never earned. It's leveraged. Amanda tapped her fingers on the table. Meaning? Richie jumped in. The average person trades time for money. Work a job, get a paycheck. Maybe they invest a little. But true wealth? That's built using other people's money, other people's time, and other people's resources. Noah nodded. Banks do it all the time. Fractional reserve banking lets them lend out money they don't even have. Marcus smirked. Real estate investors? We do the same thing. Use the bank's money to buy properties. Let tenants pay off the loans. Then collect appreciation and cash flow. Amanda took a sip of her drink. That's cute. But let me tell you the real secret of our time. Attention is the new currency. The group turned to her. Think about it, she continued. 10 years ago, finance was locked behind CNBC, Bloomberg, and expensive hedge funds. Now, one viral video can teach someone more about money than 4 years of college. Richie grinned. That's why I pivoted to YouTube. Ad revenue, sponsorships, courses, even investment funds. If you have an audience, you don't need a Wall Street firm backing you. Amanda leaned forward. Exactly. And do you know what people pay the most attention to? Marcus raised an eyebrow. What? Fear and greed. A knowing silence fell over the room. Amanda continued. Finance influencers don't go viral by giving calm, rational advice. They go viral by playing on emotions. Big crashes, market bubbles, get rich quick strategies. It's all about hooking people into the game. Cobalt chuckled. You sound like you're running a psychological experiment. Amanda smirked. Aren't we all? Marcus finished his drink and set the glass down. So let's recap. The average person works for money. The rich leverage it. The new elite control attention. What's next? Cobalt's eyes flickered. The biggest opportunity of all, he said. Predicting what's coming before anyone else sees it. Noah leaned in. And what's coming next? Cobalt's voice dropped to a whisper. A financial shift so big that only those prepared will come out on top. A hush fell over the room. What did he know that they didn't? The air in the penthouse thickened with curiosity. Cobalt had everyone's attention now. Even Richie, the loudest in the room, was silent. Noah was the first to break the silence. All right, Cobalt. What shift are we talking about? Cobalt leaned forward. We've all seen how the financial game evolves over time. The industrial age made factory owners rich. The information age made software billionaires. Yeah? We're entering an era where centralized financial power is cracking. Marcus scoffed. You're talking about crypto again? Cobalt shook his head. Not just crypto. Decentralization. Every major institution that controls wealth, banks, governments, even Wall Street is losing its grip. But most people won't realize it until it's too late. Amanda crossed her arms. Give me something concrete. Cobalt nodded. All right, let's break it down. Banks make money by controlling the flow of capital, loans, credit, fees. But look at what's happening now. Alternative finance is booming. Decentralized finance, DeFi, peer-to-peer lending, AI-driven investing, all of these are cutting out the middlemen. Noah nodded. Even big investors are using AI trading bots now rather than paying hedge funds. Cobalt smirked. Exactly. And here's the real kicker, the next generation doesn't trust banks. They'd rather keep money in a crypto wallet or an online platform than a checking account that earns 0.01% interest. Richie chuckled. That's why I tell my audience, if you're still relying on a bank to grow your money, you're playing the wrong game. Cobalt continued, the rise of AI isn't just about automating jobs, it's about leveling the investment playing field. Right now, the rich have access to high-level market analytics, predictive algorithms, and algorithmic trading tools. Amanda smirked. I already use AI to predict social trends and market sentiment. Cobalt nodded. Exactly. But soon AI investing will become mainstream. Regular people will have access to bots that execute trades faster than any human. The old-school Wall Street brokers? They're becoming obsolete. Marcus frowned. So are you saying stock market knowledge will become worthless? Cobalt shook his head. No. I'm saying who controls the algorithms will control the markets. The game isn't just about picking stocks anymore. It's about owning the platforms that make the picks. Amanda leaned forward. And who's ahead in that race? Cobalt smirked. The ones building now, while everyone else is distracted by short-term hype. Richie whistled. Damn. Marcus shifted in his seat. All right, let's cut to the chase. If all of this is happening, what does it mean for us? Cobalt's eyes darkened. It means the gap between those who understand this shift and those who don't will be wider than ever. Richie nodded. So what's the move? Cobalt leaned in. Simple. Own assets that can't be easily manipulated. Cash will lose value. Inflation is eating it up. Stocks are getting riskier. AI is making markets hyperreactive. Real estate is changing. Some areas will boom, others will collapse. Data will be the new oil. The richest people won't just own assets, they'll own information. No aside. So in other words, if you're not ahead of the shift, you get left behind. Cobalt nodded. That's exactly what's happening. We're watching the biggest transfer of wealth in history. Silence. Amanda finally spoke. So what's next? Cobalt grinned. That depends on how far you're willing to go. The weight of Cobalt's words hung in the air. Everyone in the room knew he was right. The financial system was shifting, and those who saw the changes early would be the ones in control. Richie leaned forward, his voice low. All right, Cobalt, no more riddles. Tell us exactly how to position ourselves. Cobalt smirked. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Let's talk about the moves the new elite are making right now, before the rest of the world catches on. Amanda tapped her nails on the table. You're talking about crypto again. Cobalt nodded. Not just crypto, tokenized assets. Imagine buying shares of a property or a fine art piece, not through paperwork, but through blockchain-based ownership. The rich are already buying digital land, tokenized stocks, and even AI-generated businesses. Marcus scoffed. Digital real estate? Come on. Cobalt chuckled. That's what people said about Bitcoin in 2012. Richie nodded. Nah, he's got a point. I know a guy who made millions flipping virtual real estate in the metaverse. Cobalt continued. And it's not just about virtual land, it's about owning pieces of real-world assets in a digital way. Imagine buying a fraction of a building in Manhattan without needing millions upfront. That's where we're headed. Marcus frowned. And where does that leave traditional real estate investors like me? Cobalt smirked. Either ahead of the game or obsolete. Noah leaned in. You mentioned AI earlier. What's the real play there? Cobalt's eyes gleamed. Simple. Don't just use AI, own the platforms that run it. Amanda raised an eyebrow. And how exactly do we do that? Think about it, Cobalt said. Right now, AI is being used for investing, content creation, customer service. Entire industries are being automated. The biggest wealth transfer will go to those who own these AI-driven businesses, not the ones who just use them. Richie nodded. Yeah, I'm already seeing YouTube channels that are 100% AI-generated pulling in 6 figures a month. Amanda added, I know influencers making money without ever showing their face. AI does the writing, voiceovers, and even video editing. Cobalt grinned. Exactly. The new economy is about leveraging automation to replace traditional labor. The ones who build these systems will dominate the next decade. Marcus exhaled. Damn. And I thought real estate was the best wealth builder. Cobalt turned to him. Real estate will always be powerful. But combine it with AI, automated property management, AI-driven market predictions, tokenized real estate, and now you're playing in a different league. Marcus nodded slowly. All right. I see where this is going. Amanda smirked. You're missing the most important part. Cobalt raised an eyebrow. Oh. She leaned forward. All of these wealth plays require one key resource, attention. You can have the best investment strategy, the best AI business, the best real estate deals, but if you don't control attention, you're invisible. Richie grinned. She's right. That's why finance influencers are making Wall Street money without working in finance. They control the narrative. Amanda continued. The old rich had oil. The new rich have audience. Whether it's Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, or newsletters, if you control the information people consume, you control the financial flows. Marcus whistled. Damn. So you're saying the new game is influence? Amanda nodded. Exactly. And the best part? You don't need $1 billion to start. You just need to create content people trust. Richie smirked. That's how I did it. Start by teaching, build an audience, then monetize it in ways most people don't even think about. Cobalt nodded. Influence isn't just about fame anymore. It's leverage. The biggest financial influencers are launching investment funds, real estate ventures, AI companies. Their followers give them instant market power. Amanda smiled. Exactly. The old world was about gatekeeping knowledge. The new world? It's about controlling who people listen to. Cobalt leaned back. Now you're starting to see the full picture. Noah tapped the table. So let's summarize. What's the playbook? Cobalt smiled. Own assets before the masses realize their value. Leverage AI and automation to replace traditional income streams. Control attention because attention is the new currency. Richie exhaled. Damn. This is deeper than I thought. Cobalt grinned. And here's the real kicker, we're just getting started. The room had never been so quiet. Every person at the table, some of the most influential figures in finance and business, was processing the gravity of what had just been revealed. Marcus finally broke the silence. All right, Cobalt. We get it. The game is changing. But what's the final move? The one that separates the future elite from everyone else. Cobalt smirked. You're asking the right question. And the answer is simple, you don't just adapt to the future, you create it. Richie raised an eyebrow. Explain. Cobalt leaned forward. Most people in finance follow trends, they react to market moves, chase opportunities, and play the game set by others. The true elite? They build the game itself. Amanda nodded slowly. You mean like creating platforms instead of using them? Cobalt grinned. Exactly. Why play in someone else's ecosystem when you can own the infrastructure? Marcus leaned back. Give us some examples. Cobalt held up 4 fingers. All right, here's how the next financial titans will be made. Instead of investing in stocks, create a financial platform that sells data to hedge funds. Instead of flipping real estate, launch a tokenized real estate fund that lets thousands invest through blockchain. Instead of just using AI tools, own the AI companies that power financial automation. Instead of just growing an audience, build an entire financial media empire that controls narratives. Noah whistled. That's next level. Cobalt nodded. This is the highest form of leverage. Instead of competing, you create what others rely on. You stop reacting to trends and start setting them. Amanda smirked. So you're saying instead of being a player, be the casino owner? Cobalt grinned. Exactly. Marcus finished his drink and exhaled. All right, say we follow this playbook. What's the final piece? Cobalt's expression turned serious. Your network. Amanda raised an eyebrow. What about it? Cobalt leaned in. Look around. Everyone in this room is powerful, but alone, none of us can reshape the financial landscape. Together, we control the flow of money, attention, and innovation. Richie nodded. I get it. The rich don't just work harder, they collaborate strategically. Cobalt tapped the table. That's why the biggest fortunes aren't built by individuals. They're built by networks of power players. That's what the conclave is really about. Amanda smirked. So this meeting? It's more than just sharing secrets. Cobalt nodded. It's about aligning influence. The ones who win aren't the ones with the best ideas. They're the ones who have the right people in their circle. Marcus exhaled. Damn. So the real game isn't just money. It's power. Cobalt's eyes gleamed. Now you're starting to understand. As the night wore on, the group realized something profound. They had already won in the old system. They had mastered business, investing, and influence. But now a new system was emerging. And the ones who saw it first would become the financial titans of the future. Cobalt stood up and raised his glass. To those who see the shift before the rest of the world does. The others lifted their glasses. To the future elite. As they drank, the city skyline stretched before them, a symbol of the old world they were about to leave behind. Tomorrow, the financial game would continue. But now, they weren't just playing it. They were rewriting the rules.